What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catchpollia sitting on the couch, making some money investing in fractional real estate online, as usual. Today I'm going to take a break from picking on Lofty and talk a little bit about Collab. Hopefully they don't feel like I'm picking on them. There were quite a few little things that they changed today or, got back to us with, sort of a non-answer, but at least some response about the Universal Lending DAO. And then they fixed the issue that I had mentioned about the terms of service not coming up in a visible way when you're using the what is it called, the dark mode. Making marginal improvements over there. Still, I don't feel like they completely take seriously some of the errors that they make as far as like wanting to address them in a timely manner. At least just not the way I would in the way I run my business. But it's, that's not what we're here to talk about today. Talking about making some money on Collab, right? So if you don't remember, I have a playlist for Collab. You can find that on my channel. But they're a student housing provider, fractional real estate, just like always. They are registering these securities with the SEC, or at least in some manner. Um, they keep running these different deals where I think it's not a great sign. So I just got this one where I've seen it before. Or if I invest a certain amount in this deal, they'll give me. It used to be 10%. Now they're like, now we'll give you 12% of this other property. If you remember back in January, I did buy the smallest amount I could in this one property. Um, I'm going to show you that in a minute. And then I'll get into a little bit about this deal as far as like they're giving me free money, right, to buy more of one that I already decided to buy into, and so I'm a little bit intrigued. Excuse me, but so I'm gonna. What's up, YouTube? It's Joe Catchpollia sitting on the couch, making some money investing in fractional real estate online, as usual. I'm going to talk about Collab today. It's one I don't think I've brought up. It's been a little while anyway. Um, and I invested in one property in there in January. I'll cover how that's been going so far. I've done an update or two along the way. They're a student housing provider. They're selling fractions of you can buy shares in the properties basically. They are registering those with the SEC, so it's a little bit different setup than some of the other platforms that we've talked about. But there's a couple of things. I don't know if you go back and I do have a playlist set up. So if you go back and watch the video where I bought some of this, 33 Mine is the address of this particular property. You'll see, I was really on the fence about it. I just bought some because I wanted to see how it would go. I was hoping to actually get access to some additional info. It doesn't seem like they really share anything more with you once you're invested than not. So some of the platforms, you do get sort of a tiny bit more insight once you're an investor there. Or some a lot more, like on Lofty, if you have to own a token before you can get into their Discord, and then there's just a world of information in there. So anyway, one of the things that I think is uh, could be a potential benefit, but also maybe a big red flag, and we'll see, is that Collab keeps running these different deals where you can. And I did hear on one of their videos, one of the guys calls it Collab, so I might be saying it wrong. But so anyway, they're running these deals where if you buy so much of one, so many shares in one property, like they're doing this today, if I buy $500 worth of 33 Mine, get 10% bonus shares in Spruce, and I'm going to go over both of these properties. This is something that a lot of the different platforms have done. I took advantage of that on Mogul. That was, that's how I got some of the roads early on. I think it's understandable with a new platform that they're doing it. But Collab just seems like they have a new one of these, at least every month, and it seems like they're having a hard time selling out based on just looking at how far along some of these funded bars go. They are trying to raise, pretty large amounts for most of these, so maybe that's understandable. But also their minimum investment's a significant amount more than or at least on some of the other sites. So anyway, I'm going to dig into this. I'm going to share with you how this has gone so far for me. So this is the property page. This is one of the big reasons that I haven't been excited about the platform is this is their highest, projected dividend is 7.5%. Every other property is actually lower than this one. And then their projected annualized returns are always somewhere around 15% or more. So they're just counting on a lot of appreciation. Um, they do have relatively low leverage, which is something I like. I like that they're student housing. I think that there's, the rent by the room student housing has a lot of benefits to it. But so, okay, let me see. What do I want to share with you with? So I have been getting paid this $1.88 every month, except for, so they have a lot of little inconsistencies on their site and like errors. This, I think, was correct, but this payment was in March, so it should be above there. So just my very first payment was short. And so I don't know if it's because they lost money and so they paid a smaller amount. Because if we look at that no, the first quarterly report, the most recent one when I owned it, they'd actually had a loss. Um, I'm not sure if that's, or if it's because it just reflects that I didn't own it for the whole period, and so I got a limited amount. But anyway, this should show up in January or in February, and then this payment was the full payment in March. And so since then, I've gotten the $1.88 every single time. If you multiply the $1.88 by 12, it does end up being equivalent to 7.5% return, which is what they've projected here. So at least that's good. So we're good with that. Um, that's one of the reasons that I'm trying to experiment with these platforms, right? To see like, okay, am I going to get what I'm paying for? What happens? There's certainly platforms where I've bought into properties and very quickly not getting paid. But I wanted to do a little bit of math around this one because, okay, so I have this is the most recent quarter. After they give you very little detail, which I hate. I always want more details on revenue, expenses. I want to know everything that's going into this, but whatever. This is what we get for the whole quarter. They made $3,000. The quarter prior to that actually lost money. This is something I did ask them about through the Discord, their Discord, and I got an answer that it was a one-time thing, and it had to do with the water bills not being paid for over a year somewhere, and maybe there was some other issue involved. I don't remember exactly. It was several months ago now, but so they had an explanation. I didn't love the answer, but I did a video about that, so you can see it. And then the month before that, they made over $5,000. Not the month, the quarter, right? And so this is all that I could find. Even though, if you look into their, it looks like they've actually owned this longer, but all I could find on the site is 3 quarters. Um, so I did some math. This is the total offering. And then all I did is say, okay, tried annualizing each quarter and see like, can we get to that 7.5%? So the highest quarter paid, or they made $5,000. If you annualize that, multiply it by 4, because it's just, each one of those is a quarter. Um, you only get to 2.4% yield, right? Like you're only making 2.4%. Obviously, if you annualize the loss, you're doing significantly worse. Um, and even if I average these, the average is not even 1%. So okay, even if we take their very best quarter and say that's going to be the run rate, you're only making 2.4%. So I can't figure out how they're going to continue to pay out this 7.5% dividend. So that's very unclear to me. Whenever I can't make the numbers work in my head, makes me worried. I'm getting paid out so far, but is it because they raised a big reserve and I'm getting paid out of the reserve? Um, these sheets don't even show you, how much they're paying out to, in dividends. And when we look at the other property sheet, we'll see that they are actually showing that, and then showing where they're making, taking out a reserve. But I'm jumping ahead there. So anyway, this one is quote unquote performing, right? Like I'm getting paid that dividend, but I don't see where it's coming from. I don't understand. It seems like there's something that I might be missing. Let's look at the lease performance by unit. This was one of the things I thought was really good, is that you can look at these in real time. But everyone that I have checked so far today, yeah, it has failed. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. I thought this was a great feature where I'd be able to check on the property, get like actual live updates. Unfortunately, that's not working. Everything else on here, I believe, is going to be exactly like it was. Uh, I don't think there's anything that's changed from the time that I bought this one. So, okay, I bought it. it's doing what they said, kind of, right? Like, I mean, I'm getting paid out, but I don't understand where that income is coming from when I'm doing the math. One of the things is maybe they didn't end up raising the full amount, so they're able. I mean, I don't know. It's really unclear, right? I mean, because this is when they say total offering value and then total price, like this is the amount that was raised as far as I can tell. Now, one of the things, you guys know that I'm trying to do this channel and build the community of fractional real estate investors in general so that we can talk to each other, share info. So, I don't have a lot of answers in this video, and I'm hoping this will start a discussion. And maybe, I think somebody in our Discord originally is who turned me on to Collab in the first place. Which reminds me, please like and subscribe. Also, in the description to this video, I have links to all of the places where I'm investing in fractional real estate online. Please do your own due diligence on those platforms and on any of the properties that you see me buy on those platforms. Right? Just because I invest or don't invest in any particular one doesn't mean it's the right answer for you. Also, in the description to this video, I have a link to the Discord I have set up. It's for fractional real estate investors just in general. It doesn't cost you anything. It's not a sales funnel. It is just a place for people to hang out and talk about fractional real estate investing. We've got about 100 people in there, and almost every single day there's some good discussion about some platform or some property. So please go ahead and join. And feel free to share info about any of these platforms that you're investing in. Like I said, that's how I first found this property or this platform. Um, but so okay, this was one I didn't love it. I definitely wasn't planning to buy any more, but I'm getting a 12% rebate. So like if I buy $500 worth of this, I'm going to get $60 worth of another property. Uh, I love free money. Like the way, I always say like yield is temporary, basis is forever. Well, that's, even though none of these are great yielders, if I'm getting a 12% rebate, it's like reducing my basis, if you want to think about it that way, as long as their value is really there. So I want to take a look at that property and just really understand what's going on. And so this is the one that you get the bonus shares in. Oh, what happened here? So I don't know why. There was this video. All right. Well, we're going to ignore that anyway. Here, let's just go. It's a 10-unit property. This is aggravating. Oh, maybe just back it up. Yeah, this is the guy who's doing, he's talking about what it's like there. But it is, it's by, let's see, UC Berkeley, I think is the school, right? Let's see. Why is it not? Yeah. Spruce Street 10 unit. Okay, and this is one of the things that really bothers me about this is their platform has just tons of these inconsistencies. This happened in the first one. So it's like, okay, it's 10 units, 31 bedrooms. Yeah, downtown Berkeley, BART. So it's University of California, Berkeley campus. Yeah, so this is right. I don't know why I was hesitating on that. But I clicked on the property overview. Oh yeah, tried to look at the lease info on this one too. Same error, so couldn't get that. But like looked at the property overview. Here it says it's 10 units, 23 bedrooms. And you just saw up here, it says, oh no, it's up here. 10 units, 31 bedrooms. That's not even close, right? Like, I mean, 23 bedrooms versus 31 is like a shocking discrepancy. Um, so stuff like that really, and so I think this page actually comes from their offering circular when they provide these links. They do give you the link to, let's see, the full offering circular. But so this is, when you read this is just a preliminary one. It's not, as far as just reading this, it's saying this isn't an offer to sell securities, right? So like, I feel like you're not even supposed to be using this to sell these, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a securities lawyer. This is not, even when I was a lawyer, which I'm not anymore, uh, securities was not my thing whatsoever. So I have no idea what the actual impact of this is. But when I just read it as a layman, it seems like it's saying like they shouldn't be using this as the information provided to sell these. So I don't know what's going on there. It makes me a little bit hesitant to like just dig through this and really try to figure out is this property accurate or not? I mean, I'm fairly certain that's where this page comes from, and this page doesn't match up with the description that they have here. I mean, it's just really, um, I really want to like this platform. So, if you don't remember, one of the things that they do that's really interesting is they have these daily tasks, right? Let's see if those actually open up. And so basically they're trying to use technology to solve some of the property management stuff where basically anybody can sign up. Yeah, and this is not pulling up either. Um, well, let's see. Let's give it a minute. Yeah, okay. So they have all these things, right? Like, and so basically anybody can sign up and come and complete these tasks and get paid for them. And I think it's like a really smart idea. It's kind of like um, almost like they have their own little task rabbit set up or something. But I think, they're trying to do it as a way to sort of keep costs down, to keep. I think I just think it's interesting. I think or that video where this other person was talking, he helps people that want to lease in the building, and I think again that's probably one of those daily tasks where you can show the building to other people. Um, I like that idea. I think that's kind of innovative. In general, I just want all fractional real estate platforms to win. I know it doesn't seem like it sometimes. Like I've gotten pretty negative on some of the platforms. I really do want them all to do well and improve, and this to be, us to have a lot of options to invest in fractional real estate. I don't want it to be a situation where, Mogul is the only place I put money, which at the moment they're my favorite. But again, do your own due diligence. Uh, I could be completely wrong, and we could all lose money investing over there. Um, but I'd like to see 5, 10, 20 of these platforms operating that are all putting out great deals on a regular basis, or maybe even like subgroups within platforms that are doing it as well. I think that there's some room to where you say, okay, we only need a couple of these like marketplaces, but then you have like groups within those marketplaces that are putting out great deals on a regular basis. However it works, I just want to see these places win. And so it's just super frustrating when it's clearly they've raised a lot of money. This is not a cheap building, right? This is a 10 unit building in California. What's the total price? Yeah, total property price, 7.5 million bucks. Like, how do we not get the bedrooms and bathrooms correct? And then like when you've got this little explore option, and like none of these properties look terribly well maintained to me, right? Like, I mean, they all have like they almost always say they're renovated, but then I mean, like, they're just old looking. The carpets are worn. Like, I don't know how. I don't know. I mean, this is just, one of the reasons that people are drawn to this platform is because they're like, oh, it's more institutional quality properties. It just has not been my experience with them yet. So, I'm not doing a full due diligence on this one right now. I think until they have the offering circular that like, okay, that doesn't have this thing that's basically saying, well, don't actually use this. I'm just not sure. I don't know. But I mean, this is complete subject to completion. I don't know. Maybe I just don't understand this, right? But so if somebody understands this better than I do and can say, no, no, this just is going to be on there, but this is really the finalized version, or maybe you have a link to a finalized version and they just don't have it. That's just not properly linked in here. I mean, that's not great either. But I mean, that's possibly what's going on. That is one of my big complaints. I asked a question in their Discord probably 6 months ago now, or 5.5 months ago. I got a response, and I immediately, sent a follow up question, and then that sat there for months with no answer, and I still never heard back. And I even tried. I did the last time I had a problem on here. I got a quick response, so that was good. I hadn't received my dividend, and then they fixed it pretty quick, and they explained what happened. Um, But in general, when you have a platform that you're putting money on and they have all these little inconsistencies and they don't answer your questions very quickly, um, and I know what you're all thinking. You're like, well, wait a minute, but you keep investing on Lofty and they are rife with these inconsistencies, and it's true. But over there, I'm planning to get, and I have been consistently getting much higher returns, right? Like there's the inefficiency over there because there's, the secondary market trading creates opportunities to make more money. We're here because I'm just buying a security. It's a fixed price. As far as I can tell, there's no way to sell it back. Um, is that true? Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen anywhere where you can sell. So there's not the same benefit, right? Like if I'm going to take the risk of using a platform that's not really done very professionally, I want to, I want that risk return to be there for me. And, and for me, it's just not like if I can't even figure out how many bedrooms there are actually supposed to be, I mean, that's just like such a, I don't mean to harp on that, but it is like, such a big and such a like simple thing to get right, and I don't even I don't understand how that's possible, that they do that. But the other thing I wanted to show you is, I clicked on their financials here, and so this one again, if you look at on here, they're paying out, they say, okay, projected annual distribution, 5.5%. And again, somehow our annualized returns are going to be 3 times that. So we have, really counting a lot on getting appreciation here, which I never like doing. But again, at least low loan to value. Um, but so, okay, this is, when you click on, so this is what pops up when you click on, where did it go? Property financial summary. All you're really getting is, I mean, this looks like the monthly update from February. Like I don't understand why none of these platforms, or so many of the platforms, don't want to just actually give you like the full historic performance. Like they've owned these properties for a while, they're running them. Like why am I just getting 1 month? Like it doesn't make any sense. Especially it's not even like they're cherry picking a good month. Okay, so this is February and this is 1 month in 2023. I didn't even pick up on that. I was thinking this was at least a recent month. Um, but okay, so I have reporting period February 2023. Like how is this useful at all as clicking on my property financial summary? But when I look at that, um yeah, this is what the one I was talking about was like, okay, this is the total money that they made. And then this is interesting because they all show this collab, assets under management fee and as zero, which I think that in the documents it allows them to collect it. And so at some point that's going to change. But even without collecting that, this was the subtotal. They actually had to take money from the cash reserves in order to pay a 4% dividend, right? And so this info here is what I was talking about, didn't show up anywhere on here, but it's what's presumably happening in even, in any of these months. And so I'm jumping back to mine, right? Like the 33 mine property, because if they're paying out at 7.5%, but they're really only yielding 2.4, well, that means to pay that out, they must be taking, um, from a reserve, or I'm just completely missing how they're calculating their math. Either way, it makes me really hesitant to invest, right? So, okay, like how this is not, how they're not providing like a more updated property financial summary here, especially because if we go back and look at this offer, they're saying it's our highest bonus ever. Why spruce? Because it's a beast. 100% occupancy. Rent collected like clockwork. Top tier location. Most stabilized asset in our entire portfolio. Well, okay. Give me some numbers that actually back that up, right? Don't give me a, a no, let me get that. Don't give me a February 2023 number as the only financial performance that I can find. Oh, wait a minute. Let's see. Okay, nope. Well, we can have December. What is this one? Previous quarter. Okay, so they have this, right, where we have the last quarter of last year as well. All right, I guess that's something. I had missed this at first. Um, but again, they're not giving us the first quarter data for this, which is out for all their other properties. They're not giving us a full year either, right? This is just previous quarter. what happens if we annualize that? Let's do that. I hadn't even caught that. So my bad. Let me see what we got here. So let's see if we took 73,684.91 times 4, and we're going to divide that by, divided by 4514621. Okay, well that's interesting. So that looks like um, you'd have a 6.5% yield, but wait a minute, do we have debt built into this number or not? Operating expenses, repairs and maintenance, advertising, general administrative, property management fees, taxes, insurance, utilities. No. Okay, so it looked good for a second until we figured out, okay, well, we're not covering the debt. And we know it's 50% LTV. Did we have here, yeah, debt service 10,000. So, okay, so what did we calculate there? Let's get that calculator back up. We had 294,000, taking out 120,000, so we've got like 174,000. Oh, it's going to be close. So let's do this. Let's actually do this. So 10,242.92 times 12. All right, 122,915. Remember that. I'm going to ask you for that in a minute. All right, let's okay. And so let's go back to nope, where do we go? Go back to here. I'm learning just like you. Sometimes I don't have all this stuff prepared. Sorry about that. So, okay, we're going to annualize this again times, oops, nope, times 4 because it's just quarterly. Then we're going to subtract that number I just asked you to remember. All right, 171,000. So we're pretty close. And then we're going to divide that by the total offering. 4514621. Okay, no, see, we're still short, right? So if we annualize the last quarter, we're below 4%. The projected, dividend they're paying out is 5.5. I just don't see it. I don't, for me, like I want these investments to make sense for me to want to invest in them. So, okay, I'm getting a free interest in this if I buy more in mine, 33 mine. I know I keep saying mine and I don't want you to think like mine versus yours, right? To buy more of this, I get a bonus, but like I just don't know if I want to buy more of this. Sure, they're paying me out a dividend. I can't figure out how they're affording to pay it unless it's coming out of um, the reserve that was part of the original raise. Like, I don't know. If you're invested in any of these and you know more about it than me, which would not take a lot. I mean, clearly, I don't know fully what's going on here, and even not even close. And that's sort of what's kept me from, being more. One, their stated returns are just much lower as far as from a yield perspective. I very rarely trust that I'm going to, I mean, this one, okay, it had to double to get to that, but I mean, this one you need, I'm getting 2/3 of my return from appreciation. Like, I very rarely trust that. So, I mean, the deals don't look great to me to begin with, but if they are, more institutional assets, which some of them tend to be, like, I mean, some of them look a little bit more so than others. Um, a lot of them not really, but that's 10 units. I think this one was multi units, so that one looks a little bit more, right? Maybe because it's square. I don't know. But I think that there's some argument to be made for maybe it's worth it to take a little bit lower yield. But at the same time, if I'm adding risk because, it's on a platform where their numbers just don't even, there's where they have important property details. I don't know if you remember when I did the 33 mine video. Um, on this page it said it's like built in 2019 and the property is actually built in like 1927. I wonder if they ever fixed that or if it still says 2019. Now, yeah, it says year built renovated, right? So they only have this 2019 is really the year it was renovated. And I mean, even when I was looking at the pictures, I kind of question if that's even true. But yeah, it was. I think when I looked it up, it was like 1927 or something, much older. So, every single one of these that I've looked at, there's been sort of important things that there were discrepancies. I actually think in this one too, there was a number of units issue as well. it's why I just haven't gone back to this one very often, right? I mean, there's one there. It looks like there are some newer properties that I wasn't aware of, but the only real communications I get from them are like these deals on, hey, buy some more and we'll give you some free stuff. And I really want to take advantage of that because I love free stuff. Uh, but I just don't want to invest in something that I can't figure out how the numbers just don't make sense to me, and so I'm very leery to do that. Anyway, I think that's all I'm going to share about this today. Uh, Please do the thing with the bell and tickle the like button. And until next time, I'm going to just keep making mistakes so that you don't have to.